Hey, I'm Mark.
And I'm Craig.
And this is Songwriter's Tales. Craig, another artist spotlight series.
Yep.
A lovely young lady named Stephanie Rabus. Tell us about Stephanie a little bit.
Happy to, Mark. Stephanie has opened up with people like Brian White, Toby Keith, Lone Star, Little Texas. Oh, my goodness gracious. She is just a wonderful, wonderful woman performer. And she's got a new something coming out that I'm going to let her tell you about.
Yeah,
what do you say, Mark?
Let's do it. Hey, it's Mark. We are back at Songwriter's Tales. And Craig, we have a very lovely special guest with us, Stephanie Rabus. And Stephanie, welcome. Thank you for coming here and spending a few minutes with us. We appreciate everything that you're here for. We really appreciate that. Craig, I'll let you kind of give her a little bit of a introduction, and then we'll find out a little more about Miss Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, Stephanie. Good to see you.
Hello. Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
We are so glad you showed up today, and we're looking forward to finding out more about you. I believe Scott Sexton set us up.
Yeah.
He is one of our favorite people in the world. Just a wonderful man. And if you're working with him, you're all good. We already know that. So you've cleared that one already.
Sure.
You cleared the bar. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, for sure. He's great.
for our guest, Stephanie is a consummate professional. She's got a lot of great history in the music business, and she's got, well, we're gonna talk about this in a little bit, but you've got a new project you're working on, and we're gonna announce it, talk about it. But first of all, if you would, tell us where you are right now and kind of give us a little bit of background on your music history. How'd you get started? We've read about it, and I could tell the story, but you're here, so you tell us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, currently I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, but at a pretty young age, my dad was in the military, and he ended up getting stationed in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And there we ended up with a neighbor, our next door neighbor, being an Elvis impersonator. And it
Nice.
turns out, my dad played drums in high school, and he kind of played for fun a little, and his dad played drums. And so the guy needed a drummer. My dad ended up being his drummer, and they used to do some little jam session things over, at the house. They had 5 kids. We had 4 kids in our family. So us kids would all play along, and then they'd jam out on the weekends. And one night I went over there and just kind of had the nerve to say, "Can I see this microphone? I want to sing a song." And they were like, "Okay." And so I took this wireless mic and I sang a cappella the song from The Little Mermaid, A Part of Your World. And they were like, "She can sing." Okay. And now, so my parents ended up buying me a little karaoke machine. Back then it was like a dual cassette player. This is a little while ago. And then we had CMT going on the TV there, and I just fell in love with country music. Martina McBride is my main idol, Trisha Yearwood, Faith Hill, Reba McEntire, people like that. And
You're singing my song. I love those guys.
yeah. And I just started like singing their stuff with little karaoke tracks. And then I got into the school chorus and sang some solos. And then as I got older, doing contests and whatnot, then at age 21, my dad started his own band. Once we had moved years prior, we had moved back to St. Louis, and he had a band called 40 South. And, they were all over 40 at the time. So that's kind of where the name came from. And they played in like the garage and stuff, but they wanted to start playing gigs. So my dad was like, "My daughter sings, like, let's listen to her, see what we can do." And they went from playing like pretty old school stuff to playing Shania Twain and Avril Lavigne and Kelly Clarkson. And I became the lead singer. So then years later, I decided to move here to Nashville, and I've been pursuing music, recording, playing on Broadway ever since. And also I am still in a band called Borderline that I had joined somewhere in the middle of this process back home. So I'm back and forth driving a lot.
Wow.
So anyway, that's the short story, the short version right there.
So
How far is that drive, by the way?
It's 5 hours.
Okay.
that's not too bad.
No.
That's
Not horrible, yeah. But my 2018 Nissan Altima has about 275,000 miles on it. So
my goodness.
yeah, keeping the oil change, keeping all the maintenance good, and so far so good on that. So
Well, your daddy raised you right.
Yeah. So
That's a fact.
So yeah, I was looking at your press kit, and you've opened up or you've shared the stage with a lot of big people. Tell us about
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, you know, I'll just name a few, and then you can go from there. But Toby Keith, Brian White, Loretta Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Evans, another one of my favorites. Yeah, just, like as Craig said, you are, a troubadour. I mean, you basically have lived the life of a musician and you are still kicking it. So how are you sharing the stage with these people? That's so cool.
Well, my band Borderline, we're pretty popular in the St. Louis area. It is a cover band, but we do a lot of opening shows for bigger artists. We played what is called the Jefferson County Fair out in Hillsborough, Missouri, many times, and we always tend to get invited to be the opening acts on some of these bigger shows. So Sarah Evans, Clay Walker, Montgomery Gentry, some of those. And then with Brian White and Toby Keith, I was 14. I was in this contest. I had won. And like part of, what the winners would get was they get to open up for some artists. So that was Brian White and then Toby Keith. And Brian White was like one of my favorite singers. Like he was just as
me
much
too.
an
Me
idol
too.
as Martina was. Like I really appreciate just great voices. And man, I'm like, so it was a weird full circle moment because getting to open for him at age 14, meet him backstage. And then many years later in Nashville, I was at his fan club party and I was kind of talking with this girl who's a huge fan of his, told her I was a singer and I would love to sing from this moment on with him. And she like raised her hand. She's like, this girl, well, first she asked me to like sing a little bit for her. So she knew she wasn't going
Little
to,
audition.
mess up on that. And so just right next to her, I'm like, sing a little bit. She's like, Brian, this girl wants to sing with you. It's a dream of hers. So he pulled me up on stage and we did From This Moment On, the one he did with Shania Twain. And then the Loretta Lynn thing, I used to sing background vocals for Georgette Jones, the daughter of George and Tammy.
Yeah.
And we did an opening show for her. Unfortunately, we didn't get to meet her. That was when she was kind of starting to, not feel as great. And she was like sitting down for her shows, but she still put on such a great show. And it was like very inspiring to see. But yeah, so I've gotten to do a lot of cool things for sure.
That is great.
All those 90s people, the Martina McBrides and Brian and Colin Ray was in there, along with them.
Yes.
But
yes.
a good buddy.
So great.
I was going to say, Mark, Ed C., a good friend of Mark's and mine, is a producer. He produced Martina and who else he did? He produced Colin Ray and Martina and all those people. So he's on our show earlier on if you want to check him out. His name is Ed C. He might be a good one for you to know.
Yeah, I remember that name. I used to look at all the credits on everything back in the day.
Ed's been around. But
yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to take a side just so I don't forget this because, you've got this in your bio. So, and this is important stuff. Now, Songwriters Tales with Mark and Craig, this is probably the most ill-named podcast because we started off as Mark and I have been writing together for 30 years. Okay. And yeah. And so we said, Mark, let's start a podcast and, tell funny stories about going to Nashville and pitching songs and, all the crazy stuff. And it developed from that to everything in the music business, producers, publishers, guitar makers. I mean, we've had everybody on the show. But one of the things, we've had a couple of people. We had one young lady who lives out in Nashville and her son is autistic. And he was on a show. What was the name of that show, Mark?
Oh, it's not her brother. It was her brother.
What did I say?
Her son, but it was her brother.
I'm sorry.
It was there was something
Telepathy
on Netflix called the Telepathy Tapes. And it's all about people who are autistic and to the point where they're nonverbal. When they teach them to use computers or teach them then you find out that these people are actually brilliant and they're savants. Her brother turned out to be an absolutely brilliant poet. And
the reason I brought that up is we don't just talk about songs and everything, and you've got an interesting story. And I saw that you with Little Texas and Del Gray. I've known Del for probably about 8 or 9 years. And I know he went through a cancer struggle. He went through some real serious health challenges, and we're still working on getting him on the show. We had him scheduled earlier on, and then he had some stuff come up. But you had some things going on And this is the reason I want to bring this up. And I think the reason you have it on your bio is because it's an encouragement to people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons we've had our show, is to encourage people who are just ready to give up or just think that they're not worth it, or their struggles or whatever are just too much to allow them to continue going forward. So
Yeah.
would you just talk about, and this is, what your bio says, where I'm headed with this: heart condition, eye condition. You want to just talk about that for a minute? And just,
Oh, yeah.
there's somebody
Yeah,
that
yeah.
needs to hear this. I know there is.
Yeah. Well, so, I mentioned that I had started singing at a pretty young age. Before really kind of delving into that, I had some issues with some self-esteem. I did have a cross eye, and I just kind of felt like everybody looked at me differently, and, and all that. Plus, I had heart condition from birth that I ended up getting fixed through surgery, open heart surgery at age 11. Yeah, it was a pretty big thing to go through. It was called pulmonary stenosis. Basically, the pulmonic valve didn't open enough to pump enough blood through. And they had done these 3 balloon catheter things to try to open it up. Didn't work. So at 11, they had to do open heart surgery. But with the cross eye thing, I was very self-conscious, and in my mind, I mean, like kids, kids are mean. I had this little boy that was like, I had the hugest crush on, and in school, you could move your desks every quarter or whatever. And we moved right across from each other. I was so excited. And then he goes, you know what? You're fat. And so I had issues with self-esteem with that. I had 3 very skinny siblings, and we had lived the same lives, but I always felt like I was a little more chubby than them. And so that kind of really, messed with my head a lot. But whenever the singing thing came up and people started to give me props for that and compliment me, it really just started to build my confidence and make me feel like there was something, that I could be proud of. And so I really just latched on to that, and then just went through life kind of, that was my comfort, was music. And then as you grow up, you get more, confident. You kind of grow out of some of those things, those insecurities. But at age, I was getting ready to go into high school. I ended up having my eyes corrected as well. So I had corrective eye surgery. So yeah, it was a lot to go through. But, fast forward to nowadays, I don't know if this is even in my bio. I'm not sure. But I actually just had another heart surgery.
My
I
goodness.
don't see that in your bio.
We need to update. No,
Yeah.
so 30 years went by, and I was noticing some palpitations. Like, I'd had some follow-ups over the years, but not very often.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being able to meet with a cardiologist last August, and they found out that I now had what was called pulmonary regurgitation, which is what happens a lot to people that had that surgery at a young age. And so basically it's a leaky valve, and it was moderate to severe. And April 29th, I ended up having a transcatheter pulmonic valve replacement.
Wow.
So yeah, so I have a song, my current single right now is called I Told Me So. And it's just about chasing your dream, no matter like highs and lows, just keep believing in yourself. And I have some content on my socials about that transition of like way back then, and how it kind of full circle now. I'm having this, because that was when I started singing at that age of 11.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have this song about like not giving up. So it's a lot. It really is. But, I'm still trucking along here.
Well,
Go ahead,
I love
Mark.
that title, by the way. I saw that.
Yeah.
I Told Me So. I think that's a great title.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for your transparency and your willingness to.
I mean,
Yeah.
and again, if you're like, I don't think I want that to go out, we'll cut it. But I think I love, it's like Craig said, part of the thing that we've loved about this is getting to know people on a different level than just, oh, hey, you're a singer. Great. Sing me a song. But when people realize that everybody goes through these life challenges. Everybody goes through, I was just reading about that artist, Ashley Cook, and she's got some kind of life-threatening genetic thing and it's like, boy, and it's not affecting her. It's not, you're still out here doing your thing, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I want to talk about songwriting for a second, because so we know now when you started singing. When did you start writing?
Well, actually, at about 14, I think I was 14, I wrote my first song by myself. And it was just kind of It's weird how I write because I really don't play guitar. I mean, I know the chords. It's just about putting them together
Sure.
and doing it quickly and singing along with it. That's the part that's like, I need to practice a bit. But even at 14, like I just had ideas for songs and I would literally just hear this melody like in my head as I'm thinking of the lyrics. And I mean, I would just like sing it to myself in my head. And so I wrote my first song. I think there was 2 songs I ended up writing about at 14. And it just kind of flowed, it was like, where did
Mm.
this come from? But it was called She's Not in Kansas Anymore. And it was basically, about a girl that was pursuing big dreams. And she's like, I don't know if I need to go to Nashville or if I need to go to California, but I'm going to pursue this dream, and then there's like a line in there about she thought that road would take her somewhere beyond the rainbow. Now she's not sure. She doesn't know, but she's not in Kansas anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and this is like a 14-year-old, like who doesn't know, but it was at the time I just had these dreams of all of this. So I kind of related it to that. And then like, I think my second song was like, it's a little bit embarrassing, but I had a huge crush on Brian White and he had this song like Me and the Moon. And there's a line in there, I want to be the stars in your eyes tonight. So I wrote the song called Stars in Your Eyes or Stars in My Eyes, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, kind of about all of that, like, I'm the stars in your eyes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you
Mm-hmm.
are the stars in my eyes, something like that. But it's been a long time. But yeah, so then as it went on, and then I moved here and then I started connecting with other writers. Like I just love the co-writing, because it's just so many people have different ideas for how to say things. And it really is just such a special thing when you have these great writers all together and you can bounce things off of each other. So I haven't done as much of like solo writing because I just love that dynamic of the co-writers. But my last Christmas single, I did write all the lyrics. It was called Christmas Like Before. I did write all the lyrics on that one. And then I just had my producer, help with the music and composition and all of that. So,
Well, that's very cool. I mean,
yeah.
well, talk about your new single that's coming out on the 31st.
Yeah. Okay. So it is so different. Like it's very different than a lot of my stuff.
Another great title, by the way. I have to say, you.
Well, so my co-writers on that were Mark Roma and Corey Lee Barker, and I've worked with them quite a bit. One actually Christmas single from a few years back was called Bells, Bells, Bells. And we were the trio of writers on that. And it was just such a fun song. Like so my idols are, like I said, Martina McBride, Trisha Yearwood. Like there's a lot of like serious, like big ballads, and like I'm a Diane Warren fan. Like, like I love that like big ballady, serious
The
stuff.
Broadway serious ballad, yes.
Yeah. So, but this, I think that when we were doing the session before, Mark, I think, joked around. He's like, we need to write a fun beach song, and then whenever we got back together to write, we were like, well, what do you want to write about? And I was like, you said something about a beach song, like a fun beach song. Like I've never done anything like that. I think that would be cool to kind of navigate. So we just went into it and it just ended up being this really fun thing that, again, just different vibe because I have a lot of serious, kind of subjects, emotional things in my songs. I have some fun ones on my album from back in 2022. My album's called My Time Now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a couple of little sassy songs on there. But like for the most part, I just love these kind of big messages,
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, I wanted to just have something fun and laid back. And the weird part of it is it's like about being cheated on. So what's fun about that? But we kind of twisted it. A lot of times in female country, there's this thing about we need to key the car if he cheats on me and we got to do all this bad stuff. And this was more about, what? I'm not going to let this person steal my joy. I'm going to come out here and live my life on the beach, enjoy it, check out the view, and maybe even brag about it to the guy a little bit. And that's where we came up with this Payback's a Beach. So,
yeah, that's so cool. And great song, too. Great song.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Shauna has like a little like country reggae vibe. My producer put in this ukulele. We got the steel drums. And then, of course, we have great steel guitar and fiddle stuff in there. So
that's what I noticed. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was going to mention that, Stephanie. When I was listening to the song, the fiddle that came in, I thought, that's so nice because you don't hear that very often. Now, the bluegrass influence is kind of coming back. Into music here and there.
I'm here for it too.
Yeah,
I
but
cannot wait.
Oh, yeah.
That was really, that was a good call on that tune for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, with, people like Zach Top and Ella Langley and like this country thing, this 90s country thing is kind of coming back and people are really like appreciative of that feel. It's not all just like little drum machine, like crazy things going, like pop, whatever.
Yeah.
We wanted to keep that real country sound, but then give it that kind of island vibe. And really, there's not like a lot of females who have
I
that.
was going
Like
to
you see,
say a lot
yeah,
of the
it's like
guys
Kenny
have
Chesney.
a lot of the guys have beat songs, but there aren't any
I know.
for
So I'm like, I'll take that lane.
take
I'll
it,
start it.
take it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's really fun. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I wish you a lot of luck with that because it's a cool song. And,
Thank you.
sometimes some of the best songs, I remember one time, and I don't remember what song it was. I wish I did, but Travis Tritt was, I think it was a Christmas song that he wrote because he was in the studio in July and he was in a really bad mood and things were just not going well. And he said, and I forgot what song it was. I wish I knew, but, I just remember him saying, man, just sitting in a studio in July in Nashville when it's 115 degrees and writing a Christmas song. And it just snapped him out of that bad mood because it was fun. And it was like, I think he said something like, I forgot that writing songs could be fun again.
Yeah.
And it was not just about, oh, is this going to play on the radio? It was just like, and I'm sure it was a Christmas song because that's what kind of got him out of the thing. But,
Yeah.
I think, and you said it, Trisha Yearwood's probably my favorite female artist just because nobody sings a ballad better than Trisha does. I don't think, but for my money, but I think that every now and then she would put two or three.
Yeah.
She had this album of great Diane Warren songs and other songs. And then she had a song on there called Cowboys Are My Weakness. And it's just a fun little, but it's fun when artists, you can tell when they're having fun, like, okay, I'm tired of being serious. I just want to do something fun. And
and everybody is multifaceted. Nobody's just kind of one lane in life. So you really want to show all those parts of your personality. And, I have another one in I don't know if we're going to do an album or an EP or just singles, but I have another one that it's fun that'll be coming out later in the year called Cowgirl and Me, which I actually already recorded as an acoustic like years ago. My very first album was all acoustic, but I had that same band and they went in and did the fiddle. Like there's literally a part where they all do solos. It's like guitar, fiddle, steel, and keys. It's like a really cool 90s vibe. So, and it's a funny, sassy, like it kind of gives you like a Loretta feel. So, we're not here to talk about that one yet, but maybe later we can.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's great.
So, and then I do have another really great ballad. It's kind of a mid-tempo that's got a great message about, again, not giving up. It's just kind of a theme for me. I've been at this a while and really people ask about that. They're like, how are you still doing that? Like, cause I'm not 22 years old, but this is who I am. This is ingrained in me. And I wanted to be the Grammys. I wanted to be the CMAs. Like I wanted all of that, and when I moved here many years ago, and who knows, things are changed now. You never know what can happen, but
you don't.
but I understand music. Like you can still have a great career without necessarily getting to those levels. And it's just always going to be in me. And I'm always going to sing, like no matter if it's in bars or on the Grand Ole Opry, which I would love to do, but that's just who I am. So,
well, with social media and the way things are nowadays, it's like it's hard to cut through the noise because there's a lot of noise. But it's never been easier to reach a lot of people if you are authentic and doing your thing. And like as you said, a lot of times your career might take a different path than you thought it would, but there is a path out there for artists like you.
Yeah.
And who put out authentically great music and because it's who they are and it's not some label guy picking all your singles for you.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not knocking the label guys because I wish I was writing one of those singles. But my point is that it's almost like nowadays the Stephanie artists are, there's a big stage for them and there's a lot of freedom there that you get to work with the producer you want to work with. You get to work with the songwriters you want to work with. You don't have the label telling you, okay, you're going to go write with Mark today. And you get there and it's like, I don't like Mark. I don't want to write with him. Sorry. The label said you have to write with him or you're working with this producer. So
plus your image.
Yeah.
They're adjusting your image.
Yeah. They're telling you, you know what? We like you better as a redhead. So, you know, I mean, but I just think there's a lane there for people that are putting out authentic, good music, and they're living it. I mean, you're living it. You're there. You're in Music City, and you're playing the places that everybody, you know, there are a lot of people in Atlanta and in Georgia where we are that would love to be up there singing on Broadway.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I'll tell you, there's it's funny you said, I want you to be a redhead because Jody Messina is really knocking it out of the park right now.
She is.
So,
she is.
Excuse me. What she's doing, I think, is she's helped ushering in some of the older artists and making it cool again, you know, so you don't have to be, you know, 21 with short shorts and, you know, doing the whole vibe, you know, the whole typical stuff. And so that's cool because when you got people like that are showing, this is what it can be. Of course, she was a superstar at one time, but she's still she's
still in that lane, man.
Yeah,
she's
got
just
that
out there
template working,
doing her thing.
That'll be in your favor, for sure.
Absolutely. And I love that she's doing that. And, you know, Jody is a perfect example. Craig, that's a perfect example. She had her quote unquote heyday, but now she's still putting out new music. She's still out there singing and touring and just living her life, man.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. And she's not trying to compete with Ella Langley. And, you know, there's a lane for both of them.
Yeah.
And there's a lane for you. So good on you.
Let's talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about where you're headed now as far as what do you got planned for the next, like through the end of the summer and everything. I know you've got your July 31st. Is that when it is, the release of Payback's a Beach?
Uh-huh.
And then, so talk about what you're doing as far as shows go and what your plans on through the end of the summer now.
Yeah. So that's coming out and, you know, it's going to be with it still being, you know, a couple months left of summer. That'll be fun to kind of really do some, you know, content with that and maybe encourage other people, you know, hopefully to use the song for their beach trip content. That would be great.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, kind of writing that out. And then we're just going to kind of get to work on the next one, which I said is kind of that more serious. We're kind of going to go like fun, more serious, fun, you know, kind of like mix it up a little bit as we do the release. Yeah. And then shows, you know, my band Borderline back home, you know, we're very busy during this time. We are playing the Jefferson County Fair again. We aren't doing the opening act this year. We're going to do a little fun party time afterwards in the little beer tent, but that's always a great time and, you know, a huge crowd. So there's a few shows like that. I've already sang the national anthem at 2 different 4th of July events this year, 250, you know, America.
Nice.
So that kind of riding those things out through the summer and then just getting and keeping up with, you know, the stage on Broadway. I'm on the rooftop there on Tuesdays and whatever other, sometimes I just get some random calls for shows there. And then really just kind of hitting it hard, trying to look for maybe some bigger venues and looking into some booking, you know, situations with that. Then just really excited about working with Scott too. I mean, he's like the best and he's already helped me out so much in just a short time that I've been working with him. So yeah, I just really have a good feeling about this, not even just through the summer, but this next year ahead, I think is going to be like a game-changing year for me. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
I mean, Scott, we've just kind of gotten to know him because he helped us get a couple of people on the show and then we've just kind of hit it off with him and he's super nice guy and he but he you know, he's a perfect example of people, and we've met a lot of people like this who love what they do. And they don't just work, you know, you have the people that are like, well, I don't work with you unless you've got 4 million followers or I don't work with you, you know, but he's not one of those people. And, you know, Craig Campbell's another one that we've worked with a lot who does a lot of PR stuff for different artists. And there's a lot of good people there that, as you said earlier, can help you make an incredible career, regardless of whether I hope you get to sing on the Opry. I really do.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it doesn't mean you didn't have, you aren't having an amazing career.
Yeah,
Because
I know. I was just going to say, because I know it seems like there was a time when to get on the opera, you kind of had to be like a signed, like big artist. And now they're really not going that route. Now, I have noticed, I think, just like a lot of things, the social media following kind of helps, if you have that bigger following. And that is something, I am really trying to build.
Sure,
I know my
sure.
numbers should really come up from where they're at. So we are, learning and I'm pivoting and just figuring different things out. Because, the idols that I grew up watching did not have to do all that, and I
No.
thought,
Right.
okay, I'll move to Nashville and then I'll just get discovered at a karaoke bar and then I'll get a
Right.
record, and not how it goes. But then within that was the transition of social media. And then it's like, oh, well, not only are you a singer and a songwriter, but you also have to like be really creative and come up with like weird videos, So, and
We
I mean,
want
in
you
a
to
lot
do
of
all
it,
the work. They want you to do all the
yeah,
work.
exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I had a kind of meeting, well, like a by chance meeting with a label president. I'm not going to go into the label, but it's a pretty good label. And because I was working at a restaurant and I kind of overheard these two ladies talking. I could tell they were industry ladies. And I went over and after they finished, I was like, I'm going to wait till they stand up. I'm not going to bother their meal. But I said, I kind of heard you guys talking. You're in the music industry. I just put an album out last week. This is 4 years ago. But, and I go, if you wouldn't mind just taking a listen, I know. And she's like, no problem. And like, so I gave her the information. She checked out the album on Spotify. She's like, you have a big voice. These are my 3 favorite songs. I'm going to send this to my people. We'll get back to you. And I'm like, oh, this is it. This is it. Well, a few weeks goes by and then I kind of reach out. I'm like, hey, just curious your thoughts. And she goes, oh, let me listen to this, again or whatever. And then she gets back and she goes, okay, so you need to bring up your social numbers. She's like, we just want to know that you guys have this following already, so they want everything in place already. Like
I said,
and
they want you to do all the work. I mean,
exactly.
Martina and Trisha, they had PR teams at the label that took care of all that.
Exactly.
And yeah.
It's funny, Mark and I, before we jumped on the show today, we were just talking about the whole social media insanity. And
yeah.
I kind of work it with Songwriters Tales. Mark is with the Mark does a corporate gig where what is it, video?
I do video and corporate writing and marketing and video production.
But he's got a whole team of people that work their social media.
Right.
And when I was first getting
we
into
we have a department for social media.
So when I was first getting into it and trying to understand how to get it out there and what the best way to do it is, Mark says, if you can figure that out, you'll be a millionaire. He said, because
that's what I said. Write a book. If you figure it out, write a book and sell it to everybody because nobody can figure it out.
So it's, we hadn't got it figured out, but we are so excited that you came on and we're so grateful. And I'm going to tell the audience, we're going to have a post-show chat. So we're going to say goodbye. And this is goodbye to the audience more than it is to the three of us, because we're going to stick on for a little bit more and get to know you better. But
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
Good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll see you later, audience. Hey, this is Mark and Craig with Songwriters Tales, and we need you to like,
subscribe,
comment,
and share.
See you soon, folks.
See ya. Let's do it.